can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat Sleep Boxing Repeat.
Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. It's a pleasure and a delight to be joined by Casper. Been a while since you've been on the channel, Casper, but yeah, always looking forward and always enjoy filming videos with yourself when there's a Polish fighter in a big fight, and that is most definitely the case this weekend as Michal Cieslak faces Jean Pascal on Saturday, June 28th. This is a final prediction video, but before we get into it, guys, if you're watching this video, please do subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. All of your boxing needs up and under one with a plethora of different topics of conversation. One of which is our final predictions, which is why I am here with Casper as we're predicting the fight between Jean Pascal and Michal Cieslak this weekend. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Casper, the Polish boxing expert himself, famous in Poland for his boxing exploits and knowledge, I'm sure. So what is your final prediction for Michal Cieslak and Jean Pascal, Casper?
So first of all, this fight is like an unexpected opportunity for Michal Cieslak because he's eyeing his title shot for a while now. He was supposed to fight Yamil Peralta, a guy from Argentina. This fight never materialized for whatever reason. And adding Jean Pascal to the mix, I think, is a great opportunity for Michal to score a huge win, because I think that Jean Pascal is in some ways a finished fighter. Also, he's going to the cruiserweight division. That's the biggest jump in weight that you have in boxing. He never fought in the full cruiserweight division limit as of now. And he's facing a top 10 fighter in Michal Cieslak. So I think that everything points to Michal Cieslak using his advantages and scoring a decisive win. I won't be surprised if Michal stops Jean Pascal. I really believe that this is possible. Michal, he can bang. He's also an underrated boxer, and I believe that in the second half of this fight, Jean Pascal, he will probably be stopped in one way or another. Possibly there will be a corner stoppage. Maybe the ref intervenes, because at 42 years old, the stuff that Michal Cieslak brings it will be too much, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, thank you very much for that analysis. I can't really disagree, to be honest, Casper. I think the biggest point you make there is the jump, obviously, from light heavy to cruiserweight. I suppose if you look at Zurdo Ramirez, he's kind of made it look easy and seamless, but it's not by any stretch. I mean, it's best part of 2 stone, isn't it? You know, you're there. It's the best part of what, 10, 12 kilos, even more. So yeah, it's a difficult one. I think when you look at Cieslak, and you mentioned he can box, but he is quite a big puncher as well, heavy-handed. I haven't forgiven him for knocking out my fellow City man, Tommy McCarthy from Belfast. But yeah, no, his only 2 losses are, of course, to Coley and Makabu. So, you know, at the time, were like widely regarded as the best in the division. So, like, if you're going to beat Cieslak, you have to be one of the best. Is Jean Pascal at that stage in his career now where he still is the fighter he once was? I don't think so. I agree with you. I think Cieslak wins. I have written down here when I was having a wee look at it, I do think that the possibility of there's a possibility of a late stoppage in favor of Cieslak. I mean, I wouldn't surprise me if it was somewhere around, you know, the 7, 8, 9 kind of mark. That's probably where I'm seeing it, around maybe 8, 9, 10 in there somewhere in favor of Cieslak. But yeah, this is obviously a WBC interim cruiserweight title, so win that, and yeah, it could be some big opportunities before the end of the year, if not before the end of the year, early next year. Because you look at the cruiserweight division, and yeah, I'd say the vast majority of people have Jai Opetaia as the number one and Gilberto Ramirez as number two. They might clash. Badou Jack obviously still has the WBC. Do you believe that if Cieslak is victorious here, do you first question, do you believe he gets the WBC, the full WBC title shot straight after this, as he probably should do with the interim title? And second off, do you believe that it's a winnable fight for him should he get through Jean Pascal?
Well, yeah, I believe that beating Badujek is quite possible, but I don't think that this fight will happen this year. I must say that what the WBC created in the cruiserweight division is a mess on a different level. I mean, why they are fighting for an interim belt when you've got the full champion in this division? That makes no sense whatsoever. Also, they are adding the next fighters to the mix, as is the case with Jean Pascal. Now, after this fight, I expect WBC to call a Cieslak Peralta fight, if assuming that Cieslak wins this one, and it will drag and it will drag months and months. And well, I read also that Badujek is supposed to fight Noel Gevor or Noel Mikelian in a rematch, because I don't think that Jack beat him when they last fought. So it will drag on for months, and I don't see a clear picture here. There is also Ryan Rosicki, who is #1 guy. He's waiting on his chance. He was sidelined with injury for months. So there are a lot of ways in which this can play out, but I'm not really sure that by the end of the year that Michal Cieslak will be the full champion. I hope so. I really think that he has a chance, but I don't think that this chance will be given to him.
Yeah, I suppose it really depends on the landscape, doesn't it? It also depends on whether, whether we get the Zurdo Ramirez, Jabata fight, whether the winner of that perhaps wants to become undisputed, whether Badu Jack has that rematch, whether or not he fights, as you said, Ruzicki, sorry, whether Cieslak and Ruzicki fight in kind of like a final eliminator, to see who fights Badu Jack, or who even has the belt. Like Badu Jack's quite getting on now as well. Very inactive, only seems to fight once a year max now. So, he might hold on to that belt for until this time next year and like might not have fought. So it really depends. I hope he gets his opportunity, especially if he comes through John Pascal and looks good doing so. I think, he's a relatively big name in the division, someone that's kind of been up at the top challenge for world honors before, and I think probably deserves his shot again. So yeah, I can't disagree with anything you've said there, Casper. Really appreciate you jumping on and filming this video with me. And just before we round off, we said there, I don't know whether it'll happen next, but we're both predicting Michal Cieslak wins. Yes or no? Before Between now and when Michal Cieslak retires for good, whenever that may be in years to come, do you believe that he will become champion of the world at cruiserweight?
Yeah, I really believe so. Yeah, the only thing that he needs is a chance to prove his worth, and I wouldn't. Well, I rate him highly. I think he's at perfect age to fight the biggest fight of his career. And also, third time's the charm. So he's got the experience from his two title challenges, which were weird in their own way. I mean, especially the first one when he had to travel to Africa, and there were a lot of crazy things happening in that ring. But both of these fights with Makabu and Okoli, well, he showed that he's the top fighter, and I believe that if he's to face, let's say, Badu Jack or some other guy in the WBC mix for the full championship, I really think that he can win that fight. The only battle that he will lose is the battle with time, because he's 36. I'm not sure. I think that he's still in his prime, but he may be a past prime fighter in no time at this point. So that's the biggest risk that I see for Michal Cieslak right now. But let's say that he fights Ryan Rosicki for the some version of the title. That's a great that's a banker. That's a no-brainer. That's an amazing fight. I would love to see that. So I think there are options for Michal Cieslak. But we have to see how things will play out with Ramirez. We've got the big weekend in the cruiserweight division, because Ramirez is fighting Dorticos, Jake Paul is fighting Chavez, and I wouldn't rule out Jake Paul challenging some champion or challenging some fighter with a belt in the cruiserweight division this year. Assuming he wins with Chavez, and I really think that this fight is for him to win.
Probably crazy times, but yeah, hopefully Michal Cieslak gets back to winning ways. Wins against Jean Pascal records a big victory, and yeah, who knows what's on the horizon? Hopefully, a big fight for him. But Kasper, I really appreciate your time as always. Thank you for jumping on the channel. Hopefully, there's more Polish fighters and massive fights in the not so distant future, and we'll have you on more frequently because I always enjoy talking boxing with you. So thank you very much, guys. If you're watching, let us know in the comments your thoughts, whether you agree with Kasper and I, or if you're perhaps going against Cieslak, you think Jean Pascal can pull it off at the age of 42. Let us know. As always, subscribe to the channel and also like the video too. Kasper, thank you very much once again, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Thank you very much. See you soon.